Hello everyone and welcome to my new video. And what is this video about? Well, I'm going to create a reverse delay in Max for Live, something that I've never tried before and I thought it would be interesting. And I don't think there is really a reverse delay in Ableton, not in the stock stuff. Probably there's all manner of plugins out there that will do reverse delays and there's loads on hardware and stuff like that. But I don't have one to hand. So I thought, well, I'll just make one because that's generally what I think. If I feel like I'm missing something in my Ableton setup, just go and make it. That's kind of what I do. So I'm going to use this rather banging 808 riff that I've made as my... which is at 20 BPM for some ridiculous reason. Okay. Very straight because I want to really emphasize the reversing that I'm going to do in my reverse delay. So what does a reverse delay do? Well, it's a delay that plays the echoes backwards rather than forwards. That's my understanding anyway. So we're going to make that. How are we going to make that? We're basically going to write the audio into a buffer and then play it backwards rather than forwards. It's actually not really that difficult. So let's open Max. I've created a new Max audio effect and we're going to need to do a couple of things. We're going to need to zoom in and then zoom right back out. So we're going to need to make a buffer and we need to give the buffer a name. And I'm going to name it --rev delay. Why did I give it a --? Well, that's because if you want to use this device multiple times in your live set, the ---- will create a unique ID to that device rather than using the same buffer across multiple devices, which is actually a really cool thing. But sometimes, well, largely not what you want. We need a maximum duration, and I'm going to say 12,000 milliseconds. I've chosen 12,000 milliseconds because that is exactly a bar in milliseconds at 20 BPM, which is the lowest BPM you can go to in Ableton. That's important. And I want 2 channels. There we go. There's our buffer. We're going to write into that buffer. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's make a waveform object with the same buffer name at buffer name --rev delay. And then we can just use that to check that we are indeed writing into our buffer. So what are we going to use to write into our buffer? I'm going to write into the buffer using an object called poke. I need to give the poke the argument, which is the name of the buffer, --rev delay. And I also need to specify which channel of the buffer I'm going to write into. So for this first one, I'm going to write into channel 1. So I'm actually going to need 2 of these. One for channel 1 and one for channel 2. So we have some inlets here. The first inlet is the sample value to write. That's going to be our audio signal. The second one is the index. So we're going to need to count through the poke as we write samples to the poke or to the buffer. The third inlet is the channel. We don't need to worry about that because we've already specified the channel. So most of the time, you would probably use an object like count. Count will start counting at sample rate incrementally, at sample rate, an increment of 1 each time at sample rate. So it's going to count from 1 to 41,000 or 48,000 in 1 second. I'm not going to use count. I'm going to use phaser. Because phaser, we can change the frequency at which it phases, and thus that can be like our delay time. And we can also sync the phaser to note values, which means that we can make a tempo synced delay. So I'm going to create a phaser. And now I'm going to create a live menu here. I'm going to right click the live menu, go to prototype, and I'm going to choose note values. So now we can choose all of these different note values and use those to set the rate of our phaser. So right now, if I connect the middle outlet of the live menu to the phaser, create a live scope, we can see the phaser is going to start phasing at 1/8 notes, right? Or if we wanted to go for a bar, we can ramp over a bar. So I'm going to use this phaser to write into poke. The problem is that the phaser ramps from 0 to 1. This middle line here is 0 and this top is 1, but we don't want that. We need to write to much larger numbers and in samples. Even though we've specified our buffer in milliseconds, we're writing into poke in samples. So the numbers are much, much, much bigger. So how do we do that? Well, we can use the translate object. We can say translate note values to samples. And I believe that's really all we need to do. No, we need at listen1 because these are tempo stuff, tempo things. Right, so let's have a look at what number this spits out. So if I connect the phaser to the translate and then connect a number box to the output of the translate and choose a number from my menu here, we get nothing. Why? Oh, I don't connect to the phaser. I made a mistake. We need to connect the middle outlet of the U menu to the translate, not the phaser. That was bad. Okay, so 8N at 140 BPM is 9,450 samples. And indeed, if we were to change the tempo, which I'm going to do on my push, you can see how that number changes. So now we're going down to 120 BPM. That's changing the translation. That's very good. So I'm going to use that number to multiply the ramp of the phaser in order to write into these pokes. So quite simply, I'm going to make a multiply here, connect the phaser to the multiply, and then I'm going to create a sig. I like to use sig for these types of things so that we can get those numbers straight away. And indeed, if I was to connect a number here, we could probably see, well, after I choose a value here, so we can see that the phaser is now ramping not from 0 to 1, but to a much larger number. And there's some floating point junk there. Ooh, why? Why is that? Is that something I need to be concerned about? Let's do round. Round to the nearest one. I don't know if I really need to worry about that, but it's too late. I've done it. So we're going to use that to write into our poke. So we're going to take both of these outputs here, connect to our sample index, and to both our pokes. And then we can start writing to our buffer. So let's zoom out a little bit and let's take the plugin for the left channel and go into that side of the poke, and the right channel for this poke. Start our transport. Okay, we can see that we are indeed writing to our buffer, although it's very small because this is a large display. So actually, let's take another translate and go translate note values to MS, and then use that to resize our waveform display. So let's go for, which inlet is it? Display length. Okay, let's reset that. Okay, now we're writing into our buffer. And if we choose a longer time, so we can see that we're very much recording a bar. Okay, that's good. This is going to come in useful later on. So we've written into our buffer. Now we need to play it back. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to use wave tilde with the argument -- rev delay. A starting point of 0, an end point of 0, and 2 outputs. Now, I'm going to use the same phaser. Let me think about this for a second. Yeah, I think I could probably get away with using the same right phaser to read. So we're going to need to specify the end location. So I'm going to take, but this is in milliseconds, yes? Yes, end table location in milliseconds. Okay, so we've got our translate note values to MS to milliseconds here. Let's put that into a sig as well. And then we could use that to set the end point of our wave. Let's choose our time here. And let's check if it's still writing. Okay, so we need to get the phaser to go backwards. So let's have a look at what the phaser is doing. The phaser is currently... We don't need to use the multiplied phaser because the wave tilde reads from 0 to 1. This is why I like wave. Not much maths you have to do. You can just plug a phaser into it and you're going to get the whole sample. So the right phaser is going from 0 to 1 prior to the multiplication. How do we make that go backwards? Well, we can use, I believe, divide, or rather exclamation mark minus signal subtraction inlets reversed. Maybe I need to give it an argument of 1. Let's see. Let's take the phaser, plug that into this little operator and see what we get. Now that it's in reverse. See? So it's the same as that one, but it's going down instead of up. So we can use that to play our sample in reverse. Let's see if that works. Let's plug that into our wave. Let's maybe make this look a little bit nicer. Let's put this here just for now. Okay. And let's get our plug out, put that down there. And let's see if this works. Okay, let's go. There we go. Decent. Yeah, it works, man. Wouldn't that much work? Let's try a different delay time. Oh, that's a bit clicky. Oh my gosh, grunge. That's not good. Oh, it's a little bit crunchy, isn't it? Maybe I should try a different interpolation. Let's go for cubic. Still not that good. Okay, well, like I said, this was going to be a very, very grungy, very quick and dirty, grungy reverse delay, but it works. So now we need to think about how we're going to put some feedback in there. Something is still ramping. What could that possibly be? Maybe that's still the phaser because we're not locked. Okay, that was a bit weird. Okay, all right, I'm going to disregard that. So we need to implement some feedback now. So let's make some space. Now this feedback probably won't work because we're going to be feeding back the reversed playback into the forward recording playback. So I guess we're going to kind of get like a ping pong feedback. I don't know. Let's just see if it works. Let's just do it. Let's just try it, man. You gotta have a go. So let's make 2 multiply objects. Multiply by 0. And connect this one to this outlet. I'm going to hold shift and just ping those in there like that. Maybe move those over here. And then I'm going to create a live dial. And I'm going to quickly jump into my inspector and I'm going to say live dial. You are the feedback. You are the feedback. And you are going to go with a unit style of float, and you're going to go from 0 to 0.99. Okay. And now whenever I turn that live dial, it's going to go from 0 to 0.99. You don't want to go above 0.99 when you're doing feedback. All right. You're going to ruin everything. Your life, your speakers, the universe, the relationships you have with your friends, your ears. It's just don't do it. Never do it. Okay. Let's plug that into there and also into there. So you can see I've connected to the right inlet of those multipliers, and this is looking pretty messy. Okay. So I'm going to, this is difficult to sort of illustrate, but I'm going to plug that one back into that one, and that one back into that one. Yeah, already it looks like a fucking shit show. So, but that's basically how you do a feedback loop. So now we should be able to have some feedback. So let's start our. You have no feedback. And if we stop the transport, it will feed back. And there's a little bit of weird chorusing going on there. Interesting. Let's try a different delay time. So probably we need like a dry wet now, and I'm just gonna do what I normally do, which is I'm gonna type plug-o dry wet. I'm gonna lock the patch, double click this. This is just a really ancient plug. I can't get hold of it. Okay, that's fine. Modify read only. I'm gonna get all of that, copy, close that, delete that, and let's just go down here. Let's paste it down here. And then this is going to be my dry wet. So we'll disconnect all of this stuff from the plug-o, no, the plug out rather. This is essentially the dry wet control, which goes up to 100, I believe. So let's make another live dial, and we can go to prototype, and I think we can go to amount, and that's going to go from 0 to 100. Great. And we can use that to set our dry wet amount. Let's indeed delete that, and let's in fact delete all of this stuff. So, and indeed this and that, all that stuff. And actually these can go straight into the plug out there like that. We can line that up, make that look neat. Right. So our dry input is going to come in on these two multipliers, and our wet is going to come out on these two. So let's zoom out a bit. Where is that coming from? That's coming from here. So we're going to come out of our wave into left channel on that one, right channel on that one, and we're going to have to zoom out a little bit more. We're going to come from our plug in to this multiplier, and then this one to this multiplier. There's that weird clicking again. I wonder what that is. Okay, it's gone. So it's probably the phaser still going. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't have time to worry about this. This is a quick and dirty YouTube tutorial. Let's get all of this neatened up a little bit. And really, we can very quickly make a little user interface. Let's select this, this, and this. Hold Command, Shift, and P. Add them to presentation. Let's right-click the patch, go to Inspector window, go to the inspector for the patch, go Open in Presentation. And let's go into presentation, and this is going to be the most austere looking reverse delay ever. Put that there. Go to object, no, view, set device width, click that, zoom out a little bit, get this line, drag that over there, put that there, and then let's save this and see if this works. Let's go save as. I'm going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to call it reverse delay. Okay, I'm going to close that. And now we have our reverse delay. Let's see if it works. There we go. So that's just the... So with no feedback, we kind of just get the reverse signal, but there's going to be a slight glitch up, because if there's nothing in the buffer, you're going to get silence. Yeah, we're going to get glitch ups like that, but very quick and dirty. Let's try faster. Oh, that's nasty. Let's try a long delay. Right. Yeah. Give it some feedback. That's kind of cool. Maybe we should have put like a little bit of filtering in there. I'm not going to do it now, but you know, maybe another time. Maybe I'll build some more delays in the future. Delays are fun. Love building delays in Max for Live. Lots of fun. Oh, aggressive. Okay, There you go. That was a quick and dirty way to build a reverse delay in Max for Live. I'm going to go and put this on my Patreon now, where if you would like to support me, you can download this set plus many, many more, and perhaps make some new friends and also hang out with us on Zoom sometimes. Thanks for watching. See you in the future for more wacky delay stuff. Okay, bye.